And Redevelopment Agency, I'll call to order Redevelopment Agency for June 28, 2011.
Agency members: Friedman,
Roll call, please.
Najarian,
Here.
Harrow,
Here.
Weaver,
Here.
Chairman Ukin.
Here, and your report.
The agenda for the June 28, 2011 regular meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, June 23, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Okay, next, we have
Approval of
minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second with Mr. Howard abstaining.
Mr. Quintero was absent on March 22nd.
Okay, with that abstention, roll call, please, for the minutes.
Agency members: Friedman,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Harrow,
Yes.
Weaver, Chairman Ukin.
Yes, next item, please.
Next item is oral communications. I believe there was a card submitted.
Yes, Mr. Barry Allen.
Same 5-minute rule and other rules will apply to this as it did to the Housing Authority.
Thank you, Agency Chair and Agency and the staff. Excuse me. Health and Safety Code, Section 33114.5, sets the, let me just read a little bit of it so you'll understand it. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, whenever the legislative body of a city having a population less than 200,000 declares itself to be an agency, the compensation provided for in the previous section shall not exceed $30 per member for each meeting attended by the member for no more than 4 meetings of the agency per month. Now, it says population. It doesn't say projected population. It doesn't say an arbitrary number. It says population. Now, presently, the agency, at the behest of the City Council, is paying itself $350 a meeting. So if we look at the last 10 years, that's $773,000 that the taxpayers paid when the population, according to the census, not according to a Ouija board or anything else, has not grown any more than 194,000, which was in 2000, and now it's 191,000 according to the U.S. Census. Now, we've claimed 207,000 based on what the State Finance Department said. But those are all projections, not a population. And I think that this body needs to go back to the City Council and say, it's time we roll these back, and it's also time that we consider somehow or other paying back to the taxpayers monies that we should never have been paid. Now, if you want to look at something, take a look at the city's number of electric meters. Now, the electric meters have not grown more than a couple of thousand in the 10-year period, even considering the errors that were in the CAFRs. So, a couple thousand. We have now a number, and these are all from city figures. In 2010, last year, there were 71,866 electric meters. And in the year of 2002, there were 70,344. That doesn't account for what the city said, we grew 16,000. In reality, we lost a couple of thousand. And I think this item needs to be agended to be able to go back to the council and say, we're getting too much money. Thank you. I'm Barry Allen.
Thank you. I remember when we voted for that, it was based on population of 200,000 and over. Are we running into a problem with the new census data?
Mr. Chair, members of the agency, let's correct the record. It's very clear the statute allows you to use the certification by the Department of finance of your annual population. That's when the council originally voted, and I think it was 2003, 2004, in that area. I don't remember the exact. I'd have to pull up the resolution or the ordinance. But in any event, we use the population that was certified by the State Department of Finance as being over 200,000. As this council may be aware, or this agency may be aware, we are currently looking at the issue of how the current census, which has now certified our population to be less than 200,000, how that affects the salary paid to the members of the agency. There's an Attorney General opinion that we have to square that with, which provides that the salary of an elected or appointed official while they're in office shall not be changed. And that includes increased or reduced. And so we're trying to square that and provide you with the appropriate advice. Ultimately, the advice may very well be that there's going to have to be, pardon the expression, a haircut on redevelopment agency payments to members of the agency, back down to the amount that is permitted for cities
Don't like that
under
terminology.
200,000. I don't either, actually.
The haircut thing.
So we're still looking at and reviewing that issue, and we should have an opinion to you shortly.
When will you be bringing that back to the agency? Does it have to come back to the agency or the council?
Ultimately, it was the council that set the salary, so we'll be providing you with a legal opinion. It's currently under research.
All right.
To have that back to you within next month.
Okay, well, I won't ask any more questions regarding this issue. I'll wait till it's
definitely on its way.
agendized. Next item, please.
On the business agenda at 6A is Director of Administrative Services Finance regarding adoption of the redevelopment agency budget for fiscal year 2011-2012. 6A1 is a resolution adopting budget in the amount of $50,613,195.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the agency, the report before you is the budget adoption for the redevelopment agency. As the city clerk said, it's $50,613,195 throughout the 11 funds. There was a change in funding of $3,077,000. $3 million was reduced from the redevelopment agency funding of the Central Avenue improvement, and there was a reduction in contractual services of $77,000. Other than that, the numbers are the same as presented within the study session during the month of May. If you have any questions, we recommend adoption.
How many employees does the agency have?
About 60, if I recall.
Mr. Chairman, members of the redevelopment agency, the agency, technically the agency does not have any staff. There's officers, you all, and Mr. Starbird, Mr. Elliott, Mr. Kasakian. There is approximately 26 staff that are assigned through redevelopment funding in redevelopment, economic development, and housing set-aside, which is new development and rehab.
Mr. Lazenstein, earlier this year, a number of 60 was thrown around. If the redevelopment agency was closed down, the governor, there'd be approximately 60 people losing their jobs. Now it's 24?
Well,
26?
I was trying to answer.
Numbers.
Well, I was trying to answer Mr. Quintero's, what I thought Mr. Quintero's question was. Those people are working specifically on those traditional redevelopment. There is a code enforcement staff that helps code enforcement as preserving affordable housing. There are people in finance, legal, building and safety, in other departments, planning.
Support staff
that are all supporting the redevelopment effort. That number is about 60 direct and indirect chargebacks.
Of whom most of them would lose their jobs if the redevelopment agency went away.
Well, I hope
You're supporting the agency, and the agency isn't there.
It's hard to say whether all of them would, but certainly there would be a ripple effect through the organization if redevelopment and housing were to no longer exist. Yes.
Well, so that 26 are direct,
Directly
let's call
assigned.
them redevelopment employees doing the traditional work, as you term it. Then some finance, legal, et cetera, may have a percentage of their pay. paid by redevelopment and then other funding.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. One more question then. So of the 26, how many are what I would call professional or managers, and how many would be sort of staff, GCEA, clerical, et cetera?
I'm sorry,
26.
we broke this down, and I did not bring that. Can you give me a minute just to...
Okay,
to
no, there's
count?
no rush.
I also have a question from finance, actually, and
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
you have prior year fund balance listed on the revenues. Why is it listed on the revenues on page, I don't even have page numbers. I don't have page numbers on your report, but the summary of the budget for the year ending June 30, 2012 is the first page, Fund 240, GRA Administrative Fund 1. It says, why are the fund balance from prior year listed as revenues?
It's just resources available.
It actually should be set off so it's on the same level with revenue, because it's actually a resource.
Right.
The major, it shouldn't be categorized under revenue as a revenue.
Right.
You're right.
Right. Okay. And the rest are the same. And which ones were the changes on this?
There was
It's at 13 million, but I'm looking at 23 million for the first fund. What's the total?
There was a $3 million reduction in funding.
Total is 53 million, right? The budget?
It's now 50 million.
50 million?
Yeah, it was reduced $3,077,000. $3 million in capital project funding for Central Avenue, and another $77,000 in contractual services.
So the report that is reflected here, it says 2,795,000 unallocated. What is that?
That's just amounts that are not programmed as yet.
Okay.
There's resources available. They have their appropriations. The unallocated portion is just could be programmed for future use.
So if everything was...
Should that be included in the budget, though?
It maybe because of the nature of this budget, because you include the fund balance as a estimated financing resource, then essentially the unallocated would end up as your fund balance at the end of the year.
Okay, so the total appropriations based on this budget is 50 million.
Correct.
The changes that you're saying, is it this 50 million, or is it less?
It was
3
50,
million?
It was 53 prior to this. Now it's
Okay, now
this reflects.
So this
what,
reflects the changes.
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
And the 2.8 million would just be available for programming. So the agency
As fund balance.
Like
Right.
fund balance.
correct.
So we're not allocating that to an unallocated fund somewhere.
It's just unappropriated.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. Did you get an answer to your question regarding how
I
many
think
managers?
they may have one.
Yeah, we've got it for you.
There's approximately 6 are managers. There are 3 or 4 that are non-professional, and the rest are professional technical.
Okay. Thank you.
Aren't professional technical considered managers?
They are lumped in the category of manager. However, we were trying to break down
No, I know.
who truly manages versus a technical professional.
So they may be represented by the GMA, but they're not, from a standpoint of their work, actual managers.
So approximately 20 of the 26 are managers and technical professional people?
Correct.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve or not approve the budget?
Move 6A1.
Second.
The motion and a second. Please feel free to vote no on this. Roll call, please.
Agency members: Friedman,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Chairman Ukian.
Yes. What is next, please?
Any agency member or staff comments?
See none? Can I have
Move
we
to
have no new
adjourn.
business? We are adjourned.